My name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 49th week on HRT. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. On my channel, I post mostly transgender content, documenting my journey as I transition. And if you feel free to join me over on my Blue Sky and my Discord, if you'd like to chat with me personally over there, that'd be great. I'd love to have more interaction over there. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. So as I stated, it is my 49th week. Quick measurements update. My hips are 35 inches, my bust is 36 3/4, and my waist is 24 3/4. So there's not a whole lot of change, and I think that's just due to like a lot of kind of like what happened. I was pretty sick last week. I ended up having to go to the emergency room for my electrolysis, specifically because it was getting really bad, and they said I was having an allergic reaction to something. They're not sure what, and I'm not sure what, because I don't know where that would have come from, and I don't really have any allergies, so I don't know what it is. My emotional state. My emotional state, I feel, is pretty good. I have pretty good control over my emotions and like how I choose to respond to certain situations. But all in all, it's pretty good. Let's see. Are there any instances? There's not really any instances of like me to give you for as far as like my emotional state, other than just like it with the thing that happened with my neck and my face. It swelled up pretty good, and I toughed out most of it, but they ended up giving me a steroid, and I was a little upset just because like I was like, man, I hope this isn't the electrolysis, even though I knew it probably was. But yeah. Hair reduction. As for my hair reduction and growth over the course of the whole transition I've been on, is thinned out and slowed down drastically, which is phenomenal for me because I've hated my hair for a while. I haven't really noticed anything recently as far as that goes, so I think it's kind of like at where it's going to be, until like maybe my hormones, if they get upped to a new level, maybe they'll slow down even more, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Breast growth. I haven't really noticed any growth this week, just due to measurements. They have been hurting a lot, so I imagine that like they're starting to like drop a little bit, and where my waist is smaller is kind of like where it makes up for in like growth. But we shall see. Yeah, the other day they were hurting like nobody's business, and I had to just tough it out because there's nothing I could do. Other than just like clutch my chest and be like, fat redistribution. As for my fat redistribution, I've only noticed a little bit to my hips, and mostly to my face, and any fatty tissue, obviously, and like my breast was observed. But I think the fatty tissue that's been like noticed in my face has had like the most drastic change. And it's kind of nice, honestly, to kind of see that, because how I usually see it is like I will go back to my previous videos and look and be like, wow, that's kind of cool, or like look at how I was, look at how I am now, as to kind of like reflect that like things are happening, and to kind of like show me like, yes, progress is being made. That's kind of like how I like it, and I like to write down all my measurements and stuff on these little cards, so I've got the entirety of like my transition just documented on little note cards. Sex drive. Sex drive is pretty much the same. I haven't really noticed anything different. So I'm pretty sure that my sex drive is where it's going to be. And it's honestly kind of back to like where it used to be. Which isn't terrible, but it's not great. If I had like a sexual partner, I'm sure they'd be like ecstatic to know that like I have the sex drive that I do. Me being tired. I'm still sleepy. I still get tired a lot. That's just still due to the testosterone drop, and I'm slowly getting used to it. But it's hard. It is a rough like time, because if you're sleepy, you're just sleepy. But like this is kind of like on another level. It's insane. The problem is whenever I go to sleep, it's hard to sleep. That's the flip side of that coin. Muscle development. I have noticed that like my endurance is the same, but my strength is decreasing a little bit. At least in my case. I know in most cases it's a little different, where it's like strength stays the same but endurance drops or something like that. The other day I ran like a mile and a half, and I could do that in like 12 minutes, which is about my normal. It's a little slower, but not too much slower as far as endurance goes. But like I'm still not able to lift and do stuff that I would normally pick up, stuff I would normally be able to pick up prior to HRT. So there is that aspect of it. Which is pretty good. Something I forgot to mention in my last video, I did get extensions. So what you're looking at now is mostly my real hair. But now I've got like longer hair, and it feels nice. I no longer have to wear a wig to like go out. I can actually just like do what I want with my hair, and it'd be okay. I have started to like debate a little bit more as far as like proving that trans women are women. Because I think it'll help when it entertains me. I think it's funny whenever somebody drops in and is like, you're just a man, or you're just a boy, or something like that. I think my favorite one is whenever I was called Brian one time, and that I thought was hilarious, because it's taking a pot shot at like my dead name and failing drastically, which is, I think it's funny. Because whenever I get to debate them, they're so emotionally clung to things that they can't form a cohesive argument. But the fact is that, like, transgender women are women. We are. We fit into that social category, woman. And passing kind of helps that. I feel like being able to pass is like essentially getting permission, like, yes, you're a woman now. If kind of like, if I'm not passing, it just tells me like I need to do something else. I need to try something different in order to appear more feminine, whether it's change the way I walk, change my mannerisms, the way I act, or something like that. I know my voice gives me away most of the time. But other than that, like me just walking through the store or something like that, like I get called she and her all the time, or miss. I do think it's funny because I get misgendered a lot at my makeup store job by my associates, but the customers will gender me correctly, and I think that that is interesting. There's been incidents where I've been trying to help my guests, had to get a manager involved, and the manager, since they knew me before as a boy, would go he, him, and stuff like that. But the guest would be like, she did that, she did this, she's trying to do this, how's that work, how's this work, and stuff like that. And the first time it happened, it was actually kind of interesting to me. I had assumed that because my manager, being the authority figure, referred to me as he and him, that the guest would, but the guest willfully denied that just from the start. I thought that that was very interesting. Yeah, I think it's fun to debate things like that because I think it gets people thinking. And if I get the more people's minds I can change and open up, I feel like the better shot that we have to actually making a real change towards more acceptance. The not a whole lot has happened this week, to be honest with you. I've been driving around. I had to run the business for the weekend, which went pretty well. I did talk about my trip to the emergency room, and how that went was I talked to a friend of my ex-wife's, and he said that you should probably go get that looked at, and to not let it go more than 2 to 3 days. And he's a medical professional in another state, and so I trusted his judgment, went to go have it looked at, and they said it looked like I was having an allergic reaction, so they gave me a steroid to bring it down. This is like 3 days after I took the steroid, which is pretty good because my neck is still a little red, so it's still coming down, but my face is mostly healed, which is why I was able to put on makeup today. And yeah, I am leaving my makeup store job within a couple days. Well, within a week. And I'm kind of excited, not really, because I like it there. It's a good place for me. It gave me an extra form of income. It taught me how to do makeup. It gave me a place to be feminine. And it surrounded me with people who accepted me. I think it's what I'm going to miss most. Running this restaurant with my ex is going to be interesting. Specifically because, of course, I still love her. I left because I couldn't make her happy, and I knew that. And I was putting her in danger by staying. So I left. I'm still in her life, we're still friends. But it doesn't make it any easier. And of course I wish things were different. I can't tell you how much I wish that I could be good for her. But it is what it is. And I would rather her be happy with someone else than be miserable with me. Because I feel like that's what real love is. As for my job, my career, so far they're continuing to let me come back to work in my uniforms and stuff like that. And there hasn't been too much of an issue. But we'll see how that continues. I'm hoping it stays. I did just get permission to put in my referral for FFS and breast augmentation. So I've told my advocate to send those up. And there's only one FFS doctor I can go to, unfortunately, that they'll cover. But I'm excited to like actually go to them, because FFS is something I've wanted for such a long time, and to know that it's right there means a lot to me. I long for the day I can wake up, look in the mirror, and see myself as a woman, and not have to put on a pound of makeup just to like make myself feel like a woman. I feel like a lot of people might ask me what like my definition of a woman is. And my definition is someone whose social schema aligns with that of atypical females, of which transgender women fall into, because it doesn't exclude any condition afflicted on or by, afflicted on any other woman. And in conjunction, you can make the argument that, yes, that would mean that a man is someone whose social scheme aligns with that of atypical males, which would be where a trans man falls into the man category. So that's pretty much it that's going on with me so far. It's been like a rough time, and I've been trying to do essentially everything I can to stay busy, make progress, and make preparations for if I have to lose my job or something like that. I imagine if I am kicked out of my job, that at some point they'll welcome us back, and we'll be able to continue doing our jobs as we did before. Is it going to be as fun? No, but they've done this with similar cases, and whenever they brought the individuals back, they back paid them for the time that they were not able to come to work, and their time that they spent away counted towards their retirement. I'm excited to see what happens, but I'm hoping that I can just get my surgeries and continue on with my life. That's it. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I'm excited to see it and experience it. I feel like it's going to be bright. It's going to be rough for a little bit, but it's going to be bright. I think that's all I got to report. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. If you'd like to see something specific, please drop a comment down below to tell me what topic or situation you would like me to cover, and I will do my best to make a video on that. And with that being said, we're going to put an end to it.